I, I think I'm almost out of coffee. Just a little bit more left. Just a little bit more. I didn't plan. I need to realize why people tune in, and it's to watch me have a hearty pour of coffee into my cup. It's not for the lineup review. It's not for the tilt. It's not for the victory laps. It's for the coffee that apparently people say is too weak. And look, sometimes I admit it. Sometimes it is a little weak. Okay? But you live and you learn. How are we doing this morning? How are we doing? I don't know if you guys tuned in to the tilt space yesterday, but we had some decent sweats. We had some legitimately decent sweats. It very much sputtered out at the end. We needed more Kyler. We needed more Nuke. We needed more Rondell. But hey, it's always a good day when you don't lose money playing tournaments. So this morning we are going to recap my lineups here from yesterday. I ended up playing all 3 spy lineups, or all 3 spy contests. So we'll go through those. We'll go through the Deposit Kingdom League results. And yeah, we'll that's what we do around here. Let's say some GMs. GM Phil, what is up, Wow Lucky? GM Andrew, GM Alex. The coffee slurp comes later. We got to work our way into that. Yep. Derrick Henry, he made the thumbnail. Derrick Henry was on the thumbnail, which means he goes off. The thumbnail corollary is now in play. What's up, Mongo? Lost my dignity at the Jets game and my money in DFS. Somehow buying a Zach Wilson jersey wasn't my worst financial decision of the day. Wow. Went to the stadium and bought a Zach Wilson jersey. Top of the morning, Corlito. What's the opposite of a victory lap? I'm doing that after eating all of the Dallas LAC chalk. I don't know. Crying into your pillow. We're crying into our pillow this morning. Good morning, Paul. How are we doing, Paul? Yes, we are going to talk about late swap. What a magnificent late swap day yesterday was. Good morning, Lee. Had to join live this morning to victory lap. Actually was lucky it worked out. Hey, me too, brother. I legitimately messed up my main lineup yesterday. I am rusty right now with my lineup building. I don't need to give you my sob stories about being very busy on Sundays. We're all busy. But basically, my process is once I get to like making my lineups, we make our tilt space lineups from around 12 to 12:30. And then I have about a half hour to finalize my individual single entry lineups. And I have, my notes for my mini correlations, my stacks. And then I basically open up 3 to 4 different Draftkings lineup windows. And I start trying to put the pieces together of like, oh, I know I want a Claypool Waller. Oh, I know I want a Russ double. And trying to see how the stacks come together. Well, I started to run out of time. I just couldn't get the pieces to fit how I wanted to yesterday. And I knew one of my teams was going to be a Jalen Hurts skinny stack with Elijah Mitchell as the bringback. We talked about this with Beimfor. That was the lineup we built on Friday. But somehow, I don't know what happened. I was moving pieces around. I wanted to have Rager in it. And Rager didn't end up in the lineup. Moving pieces in and out. I go to submit and I go, where's my skinny stack with Jalen Rager? It was nowhere to be found. I fat fingered my main lineup. I quit my job to make fantasy football content, and I can't even submit the correct lineup. Some might say Pete's in GMI, and yet the Laird works in mysterious ways because this ended up being my best lineup of the day. The naked Jalen Hurts. But I guess if you are going to run a naked quarterback, Jalen Hurts is probably the one to do it with here. So this was one of those slates where I was being very picky about which early guys I was using. I knew I wanted to be able to have all of that late swap flexibility. Now, the funny thing is I was never intending on playing the Chargers-Dallas game basically at all. I guess if Hurts goes for 35, Henderson goes for 30, Elijah Mitchell goes for 25, I guess in that instance, I would start to consider, all right, we can play some CeeDee Lamb. We can play some Keenan Allen. But uh, that did not happen. And so I was already playing some of these contrarian guys here. And basically because I messed up my skinny stack, I basically had a one-off spot available here. Obviously had the Jefferson and Rondell Moore correlation, which I liked. I had the Evans and Pitts correlation that I liked. I knew I wanted to play Chargers D. Those were Chargers D was one of the plays that was just really popping relative to ownership. They were popping in the run the sims on the main slate sim. And then on top of it, it was just good leverage on that game imploding. And then I had one spot here for a one-off, and I thought Lockett would be a little bit lower owned than Metcalf. I believe I had messed with a Metcalf in here, but ended up thinking Lockett was better as the one-off. And so, yeah, this was just one of those classic decent in the 1 p.m. And then in the late, just try not to eat any chalk. Kind of surprised Mike Evans got steamed up to 13.8%. I thought he was going to fly a little bit more under the radar. But yeah, this is one of those lineups where, rather be lucky than good. But I think my mistake obviously didn't hurt me. Jalen Reagor stepped out of bounds on that touchdown. I'm mad that I didn't give myself enough time to build the lineup I wanted, but the thesis of this slate was to leave yourself as much flexibility late as possible, and that's what we did. And so that worked out in of itself. And but yeah, this was my main lineup. I ran this in the Deposit Kingdom Listener League. Let me see what you guys are saying here. Sadly, my Hurts, Reagor, Kittle stack was entered perfectly. Yeah. I mean, mine would have been Hurts, Reagor, Mitchell. That was honestly one of the things that got me frazzled. Is one of the puzzle pieces I was trying to get was the Waller Claypool. And man, building those lineups when you paid up for tight end early was really difficult. I found it really difficult because I was trying to leave myself outs for like premium double stacks late and being able to get in guys like Lockett and Ridley and Evans. And when you use that all that salary early on tight end, I just had a hard time making the pieces work. We're talking about toads. We need some NFT safe spaces. I can't alienate everyone. Let's see. I think I'm going to play Kyler and Cup from now on and figure it out from there. I would be careful with this thought process. I know what you're saying. It's like Cup back-to-back weeks of a 38% target share. Kyler is rushing in a TD a week, but their prices and their ownership will follow. And we still need to make the best possible decisions, ... in a vacuum, which, by the way, that podcast is up now on iTunes. I've been posting all of my audio. I'll post the audio from today's show. The only audio I'm not posting is the Showdown crams because those become not relevant very quickly. And by the way, at the end of the show, we are going to do that giveaway for people who left iTunes reviews. There was about, I think, 18 or 19 of you who left iTunes reviews. I have all of your name on the wheel. I believe I said I was going to give away 3 randomizer boxes. So pretty decent odds of getting a randomizer box if you left an iTunes review on the In a Vacuum podcast. I know, bro. Can you imagine? Can you imagine being an idiot streamer who doesn't even get a stack in? Shout out to Ryan Hodge, who is playing poker at some Texas poker room that had a camera set up. He was rocking the underdog hat. You love to see it, although he said he forgot his man's coin. So you win some and you lose some, Ryan. Let's see here. Mike Evans percentage surprised me too. Yeah, I mean, that's what happens too in the small field stuff. Like the combination of single entry, small field, and a big late swap slate. I think sometimes these percentages can get a little wonky relative to expectation. I think we'll have many more straightforward slates going forward where the ownership projections are probably closer to the actual. But I think this was a unique setup, just having 4 late games with all with an over 50. So just tons of late swap potential. And I think it was one of those things again, too, where the trendy late swap plays or the trendy contrarian plays almost become a little uncontrarian because everyone keeps saying, oh, Mike Evans bounce back week. Godwin 7 versus Evans 11 in my contest. That's crazy. Yeah, I would have totally assumed that would have been flipped. Yep, Drico. I shouldn't have forced this. I forced it in one of my other lineups. Let me pull it up here. Yeah, here's the one I forced it in. And we were going to build tilt space lineups yesterday. And I had mentioned, Waller was really popping in the Sims relative to ownership. If you're in the Discord, I've been sharing. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm running the Sims and then I'm sharing a spreadsheet sorted by the biggest leverage points relative to current ownership. And I've been sharing that screenshot in the Discord, which you guys can get access to via a Run the Sims subscription or by becoming a YouTube member down below, the Hand Builder and OptoBro tier. But yeah, Waller was at the top of that. And I thought, man, I really want to get Waller in. He's coming off of this massive target game. He gives you a really big advantage at tight end. But I was being a little stubborn with it. And when we went to build our tilt space lineups, Leone was like, yeah, I don't want to eat up that much salary and that much flexibility early with that play. And I kind of was stubborn with it and still tried to jam it in here. I ended up rolling. What did I do early? I had Waller, Claypool, Henderson, and Hamler. I played Hamler as a one-off. I ended up doing, was it the other lineup that had, which lineup had Pittman? Oh, this lineup had Pittman. So I did a lot of Henderson. I did a standalone Henderson here. I did Henderson standalone with a one-off Hamler. And then here I did the Henderson Pittman correlation. So yeah, I was very on Henderson. I thought he was one of the better GPP plays just with all the ownership that Cooper Kupp and Higbee were going to get. Just knowing his role from week one and that the field was, for whatever reason, not going to be on him more here at 5,700. So I definitely feel good about that Henderson play. How are your showdown lineups looking? We will be back tonight at 7:30. We'll do a showdown cram for this Lions Packers slate. I think I'm just going to be a single entry bro tonight. Last night I messed around with 20 max, and that was fun. Ran a bunch of Sims. I think I had like 1,500 lineups that I had downloaded from the Sims, and then was searching for ones that I thought would be non-duplicated in the big 20 max contest. I legitimately had a few lineups that had Devin Duvernay and Demarcus Robinson on them. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to win. But that's not how Showdown works. I didn't end up winning, but it was fun. Can we still enter? I forgot about it. Let's do this. We will do, so the main drawing is going to be today. For the people who left an iTunes review, we'll do one more drawing next week. We'll do one more next week. So if you got it in early, you get a chance at 3. Leave an iTunes review. And don't just someone wrote, I'm just writing this for the randomizer box. I will DQ you. If that, just leave. I mean, you can just say you can say good podcast, solid info, but don't just say it's for a giveaway. Just have some decency. Just a modicum of decency when you leave that review. But yes, Phil, we'll do another one next week. So if you are behind and want to leave an iTunes review, I'll pull it again next week for a second drawing. Pete, comfort me on my Monty Chase mini correlation. I thought that was a good correlation. We ended up doing, I think we did the opposite on our tilt space lineup. We did an Allen Robinson Mixon. I was considering a Monty and T Higgins, but ultimately I was only playing 3 main lineups, and it was just one that I couldn't get to. But I think that's fine. I think I slightly preferred T just because Chase's ownership I thought was going to be higher. I don't know what that ended up settling in, but I thought that was a perfectly fine mini correlation. Did I have any Derrick Henry? I did not. I did not in my 3 main lineups have Derrick Henry as I'm looking here. I did not. That was a mistake. I believe, I don't know why I got off of him. I think I ended up, what did I do in my Russell Wilson lineup here? Yeah, it was basically I had a decision in this lineup whether to go with AJ Brown or Henry as the bring back, and I decided I wanted to play AJ Brown. So that's how it goes. And also just the way this one set up early, I ended up doing a Hunt and a Cooks and a Henderson and a Pittman. So at that point, I didn't really feel like playing 3 running backs. Obviously, doing the double bring back with Henry would have been better. I thought Henry was a good play. I did. I wish I played him more. Good morning, Ricky. We're back at it again. When you don't have Cooper Cup and still don't cash. I mean, this is the issue with eating chalk, right? Because basically, even when you are right, you're playing an 8v8 against all your opponents or against the field who all has Cooper Cup. So it's like you're having to hit an even tougher parlay where it's like, all right, now I'm still even with 35% of the field that played him, and now let's move on to the rest of our lineup. Whereas if you're contrarian there on the mega chalk, you give yourself 2 chances to win. One with your alternative play going nuclear over the chalk, or from the chalk flopping and you just having slightly more points in other places. So yeah, I've been talking about this on shows. You can kind of hear me as I want to get more and more contrarian with my lineups, especially on these big slates where there's so many games and there's so many potential opportunities to attack. I just think as GPP players, we really don't need to be eating chalk. There you go. Thanks, Leone. Of course it was. Of course they steamed Mike Evans. I'm telling you, we joke about it. You pay attention to what those guys are saying on their show because it can, you're not going to see like a 10%, a 15% ownership swing, but in these small field contests, I legitimately think those guys can move ownership 5-6 percentage points. Because think about the percentage of people playing the Millie Maker who listen to a show like Establish the Million. Relative to the field, it's very, very small because it's such a massive field. Then think about the percentage of people playing the Spy. How many people are in this one? 2,222. The number of people who listen to Establish the Million. It could legitimately be 25%. 25% of this field could listen to that podcast weekly. That's going to actually change ownership. So I think it's something to be cognizant of. I just hired a guy to start mowing my yard. Thanks, Leone. I mow my own yard. Our yard is pretty small, but I mow it. I had a lawn mowing business as a kid. So like I have this kind of nostalgic affinity for mowing the lawn. But what we did just hire for the first time, we had a house cleaner come on Saturday, and it was the best money I've ever spent. Have gotten extremely busy. My wife's very busy. I finally talked her into letting us get a house cleaner, and it really is good for my mental health. Having a clean house that you didn't have to clean was very nice. So hopefully I can continue not hemorrhaging money playing DFS and can keep that luxury because I very much enjoyed it. It's not Dehember. King Henry, hold my beer. Yeah. I mean, Derrick Henry, as Sam Hoppin tweeted yesterday, our generation's Tyler Higbee played all the snaps is Derrick Henry caught 6 balls yesterday. If Derrick Henry routinely catches that many passes, he could challenge Christian McCaffrey for the number 1 running back spot. I mean, good God. Like I said, I'm calling out sick to the Swolecast. I can't deal with Kitchen in these victory laps. GM Ginobili. GM. If I see James Conner on the field one more time, yeah, doesn't look great. And, this offense, basically in direct kind of opposition to what the Falcons are doing, where they're stubbornly running the ball a bunch in third and distance situations. I mean, the Cardinals are airing it out. I mean, the promise of the air raid is starting to happen, and Chase Edmonds is just such a better version. You're a better type of running back for that style of offense. I still think James Conner is going to have some big weeks. I think he'll fall into the end zone a few times with some goal line carries and stuff. But yeah, this looks more like an air raid Chase Edmonds type of backfield than a James Conner, plotting his way to 20 carries. Do you know what we should do? We should trade James Conner to the Falcons. Let's get rid of Dusty Mike Davis. Although maybe James Conner isn't that much different than Mike Davis. Whatever, it doesn't matter. KJ Osborne is here to stay. Yeah. Week 1 waiver wire hero. What does he score on the first play of the game yesterday? Second play? Something like that. He looks good. Any new lessons learned, micro or macro, after the first 2 weeks of the season? What's up, J Mike? Also, shout out to J Mike doing videos over on Yahoo. Absolutely crushing it. J Mike, good work over there. Yeah, I mean, I think the one I was just mentioning about, being cognizant of the sexy contrarian plays, where basically when you think about like psychologically why we like chalk, it's because it makes us feel comfortable. We know that the math and the usage is telling us we're making a solid selection based on what's previously happened. But that comes with ownership. And now the same thing is extending to the sexy contrarian plays. We know we want to be contrarian because we hear everyone say how important that is in GPPs. And yet we sometimes want the safety of the rubber stamped contrarian play that someone mentions. And then it's like, okay, I'm being crazy, but I have permission to be crazy. And then that play actually becomes higher owned than you might think. So I think the lesson for me is to continue to push outside of that comfort zone. There are tons of plays on every slate that have incredible ceiling versus ownership propositions that aren't the chalk, that aren't even the sexy contrarian plays, and to kind of keep seeking out those spots. What's up, Tony? You pushed me towards doing more single entry type contests. I usually did large field MME, had a great late slate and brought in around 10x. Nice job, Tony. Yeah, it is very fun. Like yesterday in the tilt space, we were sweating a couple lineups, and it was a smaller field contest. It was 15,000 up top. It's not as sexy as having $1 million up top, $500,000 up top. But man, I definitely much more appreciate having a sweat every couple of weeks than just praying when you're playing large field MME that you bank one over the course of the season. It's better for your mental health to play small field. Let's say that. What got you to Pittman? Yeah, so in this lineup, it was 2 simple kind of things. One, I like doing the mini correlations, but I don't necessarily want to force it. That was one thing we were talking about with Leone a lot yesterday when we were building our tilt space lineups, was like, can you play Henderson as a one-off? Should you correlate him? I was not on Pittman early. And then when Paris Campbell was ruled out and Pittman was in, it seemed dicey that either would play earlier, because there was basically the Schefter report overnight that they were both pretty questionable. And then it comes out that Paris is out and Pittman is in. And when I reran the sims, this is the beauty of rerunning those sims, all of a sudden Michael Pittman jumped up once you removed Paris Campbell from the equation. And I knew that the news was happening late enough that the ownership wasn't going to follow with it. He wasn't going to be a super trendy pick. So that's how I got on Pittman, a combination of correlation and seeing him popping in the sims due to late news. So that's how I got to Pittman, and definitely worked out. It won't always work out that cleanly, but in this situation, it did. Yeah, the JT stuff is rough. JT is firmly now in GPP territory, in that you can't feel comfortable playing him if he's ever going to catch ownership. Not that he was catching ownership yesterday, but Marlon Mack coming in, I believe, had 6 carries, played a full series there as well. So yeah, Jonathan Taylor still has the talent to erupt in games, but he's going to be more one of those guys that we just play when he's, 5%. Let's see. Yes, my TOC here, I can pull that up real quick. This is where I got my big dog exposure. Was in the Owners Club Tournament of Champions here. Let me pull this up. I think I still have to sweat a little bit tonight. I'm bubbling a big pay jump here. So yeah, this was one of my lineups that's in 54th here. Seahawks with the Tennessee running back, had a Kansas City tight end, and then man, my dud Cardinals So if I just switch this defense in this top lineup, I had the Rams defense. If I switch those two, then I'm really cooking. But yeah, the tournament the tournament of champions, the Owners Club was very fun. It's a very fun secondary sweat making these lineups, and I'm looking forward to continuing to get try to win one of these live final seats. Let's hop over and look at a few other lineup stuff. The team that won this spy, the one is like an absolutely wild lineup. I was looking at this earlier. It kind of looks like my fat fingered lineup in some ways. You have a Tyrod Taylor to Cooks. I mean, I guess, yeah. But I feel like if you're going to play Tyrod Taylor, you want one Brown in there, right? Like you're just assuming Chubb or Hunt go nuclear, but there's no Brown here. He eats the Cooper Cup chalk. He plays one off Gronk, one off Henry, one off Mitchell, one off Hunter Renfro, and a one off Tyler Lockett, and then the Pats D. I mean, that's absolutely incredible. It's one of those lineups you look at and you're like, I'll never arrive on this lineup myself. But touche here to Eddie Ron. Crazy lineup. Let's see here. Up to $350 so far, thanks to jamming Murray, Hopkins, Moore both weeks. Very nice. Very nice. I have a feeling we're about to see a price hike on Rondale Moore. We'll see, though. Maybe it won't be enough. Man, Rondale looked good yesterday. I know it was almost like a broken play or broken coverage when he had his 77-yard touchdown, but his wiggle after the catch, it's so good. Good morning, Dustin. Good morning. Where are my Min Cash bros at? Where are we at, Min Cash bros? Yeah, it seemed like I feel like in general, if you left yourself outs for the 4 p.m. slate and didn't chalk it up with Chargers Dallas, that you did have a shot at cashing or making a little bit of money. It wasn't going to be a slate where the full contrarian GPP bros just absolutely smash, but it does go to show that when you just avoid the chalk, the paths to getting there are much cleaner. Yeah, it was weird yesterday. Expect Najee getting there on that screen or whatever, that passing touchdown. That was a little rough. And yeah, and then the late chalk just absolutely bombed there. But I actually I'm glad it went that way because the risk is that the early chalk bombs and then you get too comfortable and go more chalky in the 4 p.m. and then that bombs too or whatever. Whereas I'm glad that the chalk kind of hit early because then there was no question in my mind. I was Xing out Chargers and Cowboys skill position players from my group. I didn't have a single one in my lineups there. Where I think otherwise I start to, if that chalk flops, Cooper Cup only gets 15, Najee gets 10 or something, then I'm like, maybe I sprinkle in, some Cowboys Chargers here. So I'm glad I didn't have that temptation, but it was a weird run out there. I also agree with this completely. That's really all it is. And you can get back those points of median projection, via correlation. Because if you think of correlation should be boosting the projections of our plays. Essentially, that's why we do correlation because they're worth more than they are in a vacuum when they're correlated. And it's just getting outside your comfort zone of, oh my God, I'm giving up 5 points of median projection, but you're making it up in being unique and in correlation if you go that route. Dude, yes, I used to listen to my Discman while mowing the lawn. It was also what I used to take to all of my basketball games in high school. You had the over the ear headphones, and then you had the Discman. I don't even remember how I must have just been wearing like baggy basketball shorts with pockets. I don't even know how I carried that around. It is incredible what we used to do to be able to listen to music. And then eventually the shuffle came out, the iPod, the little tiny version. Is that what it was called? It seems so long ago. And then that seemed like a game changer. It's like, oh man, I don't have to carry this massive Discman around. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm so behind on the chat that I'm now circling back to the other things. Yes. Right now, I've convinced my wife to do once a month. I am hoping to get to twice a month, but baby steps, baby steps. I need to hire someone to build my lineups. There you go. There you go. I'm sure there are people out there who would take you up on this. Professional lineup builders. Professional lineup builders would be way better than lineup sellers. I guess you could say it's the same thing, but I like the distinction of someone coming over, you put out your spreadsheets for them, and then you watch them hand build the lineups for you. Um, did you guys ever think to plug in Pollard as a way to get a low owned piece of that game? I didn't. We kind of talked about this on Tilt Space last night too, where I think it's a really tight needle to thread, where you're basically saying, I I don't want this game to go nuclear, because if it goes nuclear, there is too much chalk that it's most of it is going to hit, or some of it has to hit. And so then you're saying, but I want my unique pieces from this game to be the ones that hit. I want my, Dalton Schultz or Josh Palmer or whatever kind of thin play you were tossing in there. That's just a tougher needle to thread, because you want it to be low scoring, but have your scoring go to those plays. So I don't generally like to do that. I think there will be spots this year where it will make sense to get unique within a game. But I think those situations will be more when the field is super confident on one piece of the lineup relative to the other. Like, everyone in this game was catching some, baseline level of ownership. It wasn't like you could just go from from Amari and CD to Zeke and get all this leverage. You couldn't just go from Keenan to Eckler and get all this leverage. So I think if those spots do arise, it can make sense. But in this spot, I felt like just kind of hoping the whole game implodes and looking elsewhere was the way. And we just had so many options. I mean, with that Seattle game, which looked incredible, the Minnesota game, and the Tampa Bay game, I just didn't think you needed to eat that chalk, because there were not only plays in those other games at all price points, basically, that projected similarly and had the ability to, go into a shootout kind of high ceiling range of outcomes, that there was just, I couldn't kind of tell myself any story of where I should eat that chalk or even try to get cute with some of those plays within the game. Maybe that's wrong, but that's just kind of the way I've been thinking about it. Let's see here. Rams are going to be very kind to short A dot receivers. 2 weeks of just allowing anything and everything underneath. Dan Masterson is our resident Rams expert. I do always trust him on his Rams analysis. Yeah, Woods getting a little bit more work yesterday. I think he had 8 targets and 2 carries, which is nice. I think Woods is going to be fine, but it does seem like Cup is going to be more the one here, and Woods is the two, versus kind of like a 1A 1B thing. And I think that makes sense. Like, one of the reasons Sean Siegel was down on the Rams pass catchers relative to ADP was just how they stylistically fit with Matthew Stafford. Like, Matthew Stafford is a much different quarterback than Jared Goff, and he is willing to push the ball downfield. And you assume with, Deshaun Jackson, them drafting a Tutu Atwell, Cup being fine as a deep target, that maybe that offense just changed and there wouldn't be as much as the underneath stuff. But I think there's probably room for both. Like, this offense just looks good and the weapons are good. They can probably win at all areas of the field. Yes. We were like, we basically, the way I thought about it is like, I know some people will, like, they'll leave their dishes, or they'll have them do their laundry. Like, I don't mind doing that stuff. I needed to do the stuff I don't ever have time to get to, which is dusting, mopping the floors, more stuff like that. So our house was pretty clean before the cleaners came. It was more like the deep cleaning stuff. I love that we're getting into a cleaning discussion here on the GPP lineup review. Is JT our generation's King Henry? I think he might be. I think I think going forward that might be the case. Although the field isn't going to love JT in the way they liked Henry. Like Henry was this thing where like next week Henry, and we'll have to see what his price tag. I don't even know who they play. Like he's going to be so popular. Like the field zigzags with Derrick Henry's performance, where it's like, he plays great, we all chase it. He plays bad, we're all off of him. I don't know if JT can capture the minds and hearts of DFS America in the same way King Henry can. Yes, sorry, I have tons of tabs open this morning. Is Gronk going to compete for best tight end this season? I don't see why not at this point. I mean, I do in general always. I will say a tale as old as time is these veteran studs getting off to fast starts and then falling off the map a little bit. I mean, Larry Fitzgerald, the past 3 years, it was like first 6 weeks, he looks incredible, and then he just absolutely disappears. So, but that said, I'm not betting against Brady and Gronk anymore. Like, there's no reason why he can't keep this up if Brady's going to continue to look for him this much in the red zone, and if this team is passing this much because the running game is inept and they have all these red zone trips. I mean, why not? I mean, yeah, I think he has to. And it's not hard for a tight end to be top 5. Like you only need a couple things to go right because the position is so weak and the scoring is so variant. So yeah, I don't know. Like I'm not going out and manage leagues and sending Godfather offers for Gronk, but yeah, he looks legit. GM Kyle, GM, look at that. One of the crypto dads. Look at the crypto dad avatar. Let's see here. What's wrong with Diggs? No more ceiling games? I don't think anything's wrong with Diggs. I mean, we're 2 weeks in. Like, they're called ceiling games for a reason. They don't happen every single week. If anything, I think you got to be happy about the consistency. He got the in the end zone yesterday. They had a couple more rushing touchdowns. Devin Singletary scores from 50 yards out. And Josh Allen is always going to distribute the ball. He's not necessarily going to, force feed Diggs 15 targets in the way Aaron Rodgers might force feed Devontae Adams 15 targets. But I think the pie here is going to still be so big. And I am not panicking at all on Diggs. And I think this is what sets up for slam dunk DFS plays, right? It's like people start to get burned. They get in their head, no more Stephon Diggs ceiling. Next thing you know is when we get the Stephon Diggs ceiling game. So I have no concern with the Bills. I have no concern with Allen. I have no concern with Diggs. Excited to play him in GPPs going forward. Benny, I'm sick. Low owned plays smashed early, so I pivoted from Kyler Hopkins more to the chalky Dak Lamb, Keenan Allen. This is exactly what I was talking about, where we want that information early, but knowing how much to react to it. And man, if it's even remotely close, if you're on the fence between letting your contrarian plays ride late or pivoting to the chalk, just let it ride. I mean, these prize pools are so top heavy. 50,000 to first, 20,000 to second, and then down to 10,000 for third. You could literally be in like 15th place, and if you're really trying to realize the expected value of your lineup at the time, it's getting up to first place. And getting up to first place is probably going to require a more contrarian line. So yeah, let's keep all pushing ourselves to when in doubt, be contrarian. I think you really need to be front running the field, lapping the field to where you can take your feet off the gas and be conservative. Brick Bros Unite. Hashtag GPPs are fun. It is tough. Like I'm clearly in a slightly better mood this morning because I didn't, take a total bath here. I do have my updated spreadsheet. So the tweak I'm making this year is last year Blender would tease me where I had some of my play that wasn't documented on the spreadsheet. Some of it was. Basically what I'm trying to do is anytime there are whatever SPY or $100 single entries I'm in, I'm going to put them up here. In week 1, I missed the second spy, so I just did the end zone. But in general, if there are spies, I will play them and I will document them here. You can see a good week for me, a 2 percentile finish there in the 200K spy, a 7th percentile finish in the 500K spy, and then a whiff there in the 100K spy. So we started with a $2,000 bankroll, obviously playing it a little fast and loose. If you only had $2,000, you probably wouldn't want to be playing, what would that be? 15% in play in a week, but we're playing a little fast and loose with it. That's how it goes. The bankroll challenge it's a little bit of bullshit, but people seem to like keeping track in the spreadsheet. And I like keeping track too. And I like making sure that I am building lineups that have a chance to finish in these top percentiles, and that I'm not just, what I don't want to be is in that like 30th percentile time a bunch of the time, because that means I'm building too chalky, which I think we've established at this point isn't a real risk for how I'm thinking about it. 8.6K for Henry this week. Okay, that's good to know. I am later today. I am going to record a first look DFS salary show for Pat Mayo's channel over on the Mayo Media Network, and I will dig in to the Derrick Henry takes. Wow, cleaning is top of mind this morning. I am listening while my wife and I do our Monday major cleaning. That is the one nice thing. We mentioned lawn mowing, cleaning. Being able to listen to podcasts while you do stuff like that is very nice. Who is JT? Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Jonathan Taylor, Indianapolis running back. Let's see here. I'm behind on chat. I hustle for it. I have played FanDuel every day for the last year almost, and was wondering, does everyone think Draftkings is better? There are reasons I prefer Draftkings to FanDuel, but there are reasons people prefer FanDuel to Draftkings. I like the interface on Draftkings more. I like their contest offerings more, but I think you could argue that the field is much sharper on Draftkings. There's more content for Draftkings, and I think there's more kind of probably exploitable things in FanDuel. I just feel, I mean, you heard me earlier that today I couldn't even get my number one lineup in correctly. So for me to think about playing another site successfully, I just don't think I'm talented enough to do that. So I like being zeroed in on the DraftKings pricing. I think we've had this conversation before. Like, if you're really hunting for EV, you should be playing on Yahoo, playing on Super Draft. Basically anywhere where there isn't a ton of content, there's going to be more of an edge. But yes, I enjoy the familiarity and the comfort of playing on DraftKings. And there also is an advantage to getting really familiar with specific contests. Like, I don't feel like I know the ownership of every single contest. Like, I don't have a good read on Millie Maker ownership in general, because I don't play that contest all the time. But I feel like I have pretty good tabs and feels on SPY and single entry ownership, just because those are the contests I play over and over again. And yes, as Benny said too, the FanDuel pricing is way looser. It's always akin to, if you're doing pull-ups with a weighted vest on DraftKings and then you take it off and keep doing pull-ups, that's what it's like to go over to FanDuel and build lineups. You can get in lots of studs. All of them look like monster teams. Don't shame me in my Google Sheets. We've already talked. I do all my work in Google Sheets. I'm a man in the streets. I'm a freak in the Google Sheets. Do you see this conditional formatting up here? Don't shame me for Google Sheets. What are you doing? You running R? You looking at your results in R? It's unneeded. Google Sheets is what we do. Let's see here. Did I win any props this weekend? I didn't play many props this weekend. That's another thing that I need to get doing more these days, because I do enjoy it. Let's see if Underdog has anything up for tonight. And also, by the way, the prop finder tool over at Run the Sims is very, very fun for this stuff. So this is how I like to use the prop tool. It's very simple. So let's see here. We have DeAndre Swift, 69.5 rush and receiving yards. So we can head over here. And with the prop tool, we can type in any custom line and see if it's offering any value based on the projection and the juice. So let's go to DeAndre Swift. I believe it was what, 69 and a half scrimmage yards, right? And obviously, we don't have the specific juice over here because these are going to be the multipliers, but we'll just leave it at 110 and we'll just see how that's looking. So we're seeing the over here on scrimmage yards being a very nice bet. We see the median at 81 scrimmage yards, the actual odds of it hitting here at 66%. So by the Kelly criterion, by this median, DeAndre Swift looking like a very nice over. Let's toss that in. And let's see if we can find something else. I assume we're going to get more of these up later. Let's see here. Which one should we check? Should we let's see what Devonte Adams is. Devonte Adams at 89.5 receiving yards. Under looking like a good bet here. His median is 86 receiving yards for Devonte Adams. It's not as much of a smash as that other one, so we don't necessarily have to do that. Let's check out the Tunyon. Robert Tunyon at 34 and a half receiving yards. Under also here by slightly more, but not necessarily a smash. You guys get access to this tool at Run the Sims. You can get the simulator, the optimizer, and all the player prop tools here for comparing any of the prop bets you're looking into. You get 10% off with promo code P and access to the Discord. It is, if you're playing any kind of volume, if you are betting consistently, it is an incredible value. Been absolutely loving the tools here. Let's see what Hawkinson, maybe there's something with Hawkinson, 56 and a half. My gut kind of likes that, but I don't know. Maybe that's fishy. Maybe I just want to like TJ Hawkinson. No, okay. So the under, we like the under here on 56 and a half. So if we're going to trust the math here, let's do this. We'll trust the math. We'll take the under on TJ Hawkinson and the over on DeAndre Swift. Thanks to Run the Sims. 25 to win 75. Easy game. Easy game. For anyone with a small bankroll, grinding the achievements and crowns on DK is the best way to build a bankroll. Yes. This was a legitimate leak in my game last year. I remember I had Head Chopper on from over at Roto Grinders, and he was talking to me about his daily routine where he logs into the app and you collect your reward and you do your mission. And if you spread out registering for your contest throughout the week, it'll be like, register for a contest over $33. And you click that mission and then just go register for that contest. So like tonight, mine was register for a contest over $50. I went registered for the $50 single entry tonight. By tomorrow, you'll start to get all the main slate contests will mostly be up, and then just split up when you register throughout the week. So every day, register for a contest following the mission on Draftkings. And then once the contest is completed, you can go in and redeem the rewards, the crowns for those missions. And then based on your play and how many missions you complete, then you can enter different rewards tiers based on how many crowns you've received. So yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion, making sure whatever kind of rake back rewards these sites are giving us, we have to take advantage of it. It's the only way we can kind of combat the rake because long term, that rake starts to add up. Listener League review. Thank you. Yes, sorry. I did mean to do this. Thank you. Let's pull up the Deposit Kingdom League over here. This did fill up midweek around, I don't know, it was like Wednesday, Thursday. The biggest I can make this on DraftKings is 200. I'm legitimately on my to-do list. I need to write this down. I need to reach out to someone at DraftKings, and they need to give the Deposit Kingdom Discord I want, let's say, a 500-man, rake-free single entry. Pat Mayo has a $15 three max rake free, which is an incredible contest you guys should sign up for. But I feel like DraftKings should do something for the deposit kingdom. I mean, we have the alliteration, we have the riff on DraftKings, the deposit kingdom. I mean, everything lines up. We talk about DraftKings every week. They don't pay me anything. The least they can do is give us a rake free single entry tournament for the people, for the hand builders. DraftKings, please reach out to me or I'll reach out to you. We need to make it bigger. All right, Palmster takes this bad boy down in first place. He has a Tom Brady to Mike Evans and Gronk. Very nice. Does he bring it back? He brings it back with Ridley. I love that. He plays Derrick Henry as a one-off late contrarian play. Very nice. Does a little mini correlation here with Brandon Cooks and Donovan Peoples-Jones. I think that was pretty sneaky there. Nice play on Cooks. And then also a one-off Damian Harris. Texans defense. Wow, I love it. It does go to show you when you punt it off at defense, even when it feels so gross. Last week, if you were looking at Texans D in Vikings D down there, it just feels absolutely disgusting, but defensive scoring is so random. I saw a thread. There's this new Twitter account, and I feel awful because I can't remember the thread. I think Blender shared it a while ago, but he was looking at the R squared on projections versus actual production at defense. And there's no correlation. And the takeaway is never play a chalk defense and when possible, pay down. There's just no reason to ever eat chalk at defense. The reason to eat chalk is if we're better at actually predicting performance. And chalk running backs generally do pretty good because we're decent at projecting volume for running backs. But when it comes to defense, we are bad at projecting it. So if that is the case, we should never be paying a lot unless we're able to do it in a very, very contrarian way, or we should just always be playing low-owned defenses like this 2.5% Texans D works out. Very nice lineup here. How I finished in third, this was my fat-fingered lineup there. I will take it. I see Serum here. Kyler Murray, Rondell. Skinny stack with Kyler. Nice. No, and the Dalvin Cook bring back. He got a little banged up in the game. He could have had a bigger game. And then I'm curious, did you late swap onto this Serum, having the Antonio Brown, Gronk, and Pitts? Very nice. Elijah Moore at 1%. Patriots D. Here we talk about if you're going to pay up, he does get the correlation there with Damian Harris and Patriots D, gets Patriots D at low ownership. Nice play there. That's another good point about the DraftKings analytics options are way more friendly, I should say, to analytics people than the FanDuel stuff. I'm so behind on chat that I'm scrolling back to comments of conversations we were having 5 minutes ago. I did post the Google Sheet. Worm, it's in the Discord. I believe I pinned it. If I didn't pin it, I will pin it again in the Run the Sims channel. If you'd like access to my proprietary Google Sheets bankroll tracker, become a YouTube member below. I signed up for Underdog Fantasy Friday. I clicked on the draft to see how it worked out. It entered me. I didn't want that. I clicked out the app. It auto-drafted Murray, Henry, Lockett, and Gronk. First of all, welcome to Underdog. And what do they say? Better to be lucky than good. That's how you do it. Let the robots take over and build your winning lineups. Those Royal Rumble drafts are very fun. The mini Rumble filled later in the week. I was looking forward to blasting off on a few of those on Saturday and Sunday and had already filled. So Underdog, make the mini Royal Rumble bigger. David, save it for the show. Save it. Save it for Wednesday. All right. We'll talk Mooncats and Derrick Henry on Wednesday. Kitchen, he was the thumbnail for my show on Saturday, and then I didn't play him. Yeah, Swift has been questionable with this groin, but I've seen nothing that indicates that he won't play today. So I'm comfortable with Swift there on the overs. Let's see. Oh, this is a good suggestion. Best thing to do is set up a folder with the mission and reward links. Open those each day. Yeah, I do it on my phone. Also, if you're a desktop bro, that works as well. Millie Maker winner took down with 1 point from the Cards defense. Incredible. Incredible. I mean, what? Because we always chirp and say that you have to get so many things right to win the Millie Maker. But even then, you don't necessarily have to get 9 things right. Sometimes you can get just 1 point from your defense and it doesn't matter. It does not matter. Let's see here. I had Twitter notifications on for Kitchen when he tweeted about the Titans O-line play. I turned those off. Sorry. I mean, I feel like that's still actually a compliment. The fact that you turned on notifications for Kitchen. And that's not even a Kitchen thing. Like, no one should have notifications turned on for anyone other than like Schefter. I mean, come on. But that's impressive, Kitchen. Should I turn on notifications for Kitchen and just be the ultimate reply guy? All right. I think that's going to be it for me this morning. Oh no, we need to do the drawing. Sorry, I need to do the drawing for the randomizer boxes. This was for leaving an iTunes review on my podcast, In a Vacuum Podcast. That link is down below. Like Phil asked, I'll do another one of these drawings next week. So if you were late to getting in a review, do that before next week. It takes a few days for them to populate. So if you wait, until next Sunday, I probably won't see the review. So if you want to be entered to win a randomizer box, leave an iTunes review on the In a Vacuum podcast feed. I'm going to shuffle and I'm going to give away 3 randomizer boxes. What I wrote down is your iTunes username because that's where I was pulling from. So if I don't know you or I don't have your contact information, you will need to reach out to me, though I do recognize a decent amount of these names. Thank you guys for your reviews. Winner number 1 of a randomizer box also comes with $25 on Underdog Fantasy. You can use that in the Pick'ems, the Royal Rumbles, all that good stuff. KP Money. I don't know who KP Money is, but please send me a message. I'm going to take a screenshot there. Congratulations. Number 2. Number 2, Ian? Shane? No, Tim 7 Roberts. Congratulations, Tim. I also don't know if I recognize you. Please reach out to me. Shoot me a DM on Twitter or a DM in Discord so I can send you a link to get your free randomizer box. One more for today. The Falcon. Is this a brick joke based on his pronunciation of the Atlanta Falcons? Again, also don't recognize this username, but I appreciate your reviews. And like I said, I'll do another drawing next week for a box. So leave an iTunes review, win a box, you get beer gear, you get dog toys, you get a handwritten note from me, which some would say is priceless. And my schedule today, I will be back at 2:30 with Spags for Splash Play. We will recap week 2. I will troll him about Cordell Patterson being better than Mike Davis. We will look at early week 3 waiver wire picks. Then I will be back tonight at 7:30 for a quick Showdown cram. And I'm also going to record a first look of salaries for Pat Mayo's channel. So busy day of content. Appreciate you guys, as always, hanging out. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll see you guys at 2:30 for Splash Play.